And he's got one of the finest Jimmy Stewart impersonations on the planet. Would you welcome Chris Ligon to the stage?
You know, back in 1958, I made a picture with Alfred Hitchcock called Vertigo. And early in the shoot, Hitch had me up on this ladder. And I was feeling a little woozy. I'd had a late lunch with Thelma Ritter and I met down in the commissary there at Paramount. And we'd split a Thuringer sandwich and shoestring potatoes and a little dish of Harvard beets. And it was a Jim Dandy lunch. But now, back on the set, Hitch had me up on this ladder, and I was feeling kind of peaked. And before I could say Jack Robinson, I'd upchucked on Barbara Bel Geddes. All down her dress, and her brassiere, the beets, and the shoestring potatoes. It was hideous. So Hitch took her out back to one of those big Paramount backlots. And he took a hose. He had a hose that they'd used in a picture called Billy Rose's Jumbo. Now this was the hose that they used to hose Jumbo down with. So it had a lot of force. And it got the vomit off of her dress, but it shot her eyeglasses about 500 feet into the air, never to be seen or heard from again. So now we're back. This is early in the shoot, so we're still on script, and Barbara is not seeing very well without her eyeglasses. So Hitch says, well, let's just call this off. It's late. We'll meet here tomorrow at 9 and start from there. And so everybody agreed to that. So I told Sam, the doorman, I said, Sam, I have a key, I'll just lock up, and I just need to sit here and breathe for a second. So everybody had left, and it was dark now. Now, in those days, Paramount, they had a swimming pool. If you wanted to swim, you could there. So I said, gee, that would probably really be nice, just to move through the water. It might settle me down a little bit. So I didn't have trunks. But no one was there, so I just took everything off and I jumped in my birthday suit. And when I came up, I realized that I wasn't alone. My co-star, Kim Novak, had also had the same idea, and she was in the pool, and she was also naked. So I had never met her. This was early, and I'd seen her pictures, and so now we were standing toe-to-toe, completely naked. And I said, Miss Novak, I saw Picnic. I thought that was a great picture. And she said, well, Mr. Stewart, I've loved all your stuff. I love Destry Rides Again. And I said, well, that was like 20 years ago. And then she said she was a big Marlene Dietrich fan. And in fact, she started singing the songs from the film. She was, see what the boys in the backwood will have, and tell them I tried, and tell them I cried, and tell them I died for the same. And then she was singing other songs from the song, like Little Joe, Little Joe, Little Joe, where he's gone to nobody knows. Now, when you're standing naked, with Kim Novak. And she's singing Little Joe, where he's gone to nobody knows. It's kind of awkward. So I danced around a little bit. I thought I should do something, danced around. So I was dancing around and she was singing, and suddenly I had the worst pain I'd ever had in my life in my foot. I felt like, and suddenly blood was coming up from in the swimming pool, and I looked down and I could see, way through the murky water there, I had stepped on Barbara Bel Geddes' eyeglasses. They'd landed in the pool. So now I'm bleeding, and Miss Novak says, we got to get you out of this pool. So she helps me out of the pool, and she says, we got to tie that up. So she grabbed her little underpants there that she had and made a tourniquet. And she said, well, I'm not going to let you drive home. I'll drive your car, and then when we get to your place, I'll take a cab to Bel Air. So I said, fine. So we got to my place, and of course my wife Gloria was there, and she greeted us at the door, and I'm limping, and I have Kim Novak's bloody underpants wrapped around my foot. And Kim's still wet. She's got her little hair is still wet. So we had a lot of explaining to do. And we explained it, and Gloria was very, very understanding. But she couldn't figure out what Barbara Bel Geddes' eyeglasses were doing in the swimming pool there. Anyway, we made the picture, and it turned out to be a good film. In fact, recently it was voted the greatest picture ever made. It edged out Hangover 2, I think it was, just by hair. Folks, I want to leave you with a little poem. It's a poem written by a fellow named Paul Lynde. Yeah! And it's called Pal. I had an old dog named Pal. He meant more to me than any old gal. Well, I could beat him and he wouldn't care. I couldn't hurt him, he's as big as a bear. Wherever I went, he was always right there. I always kept him chained to the chair. Never pick a fight with me when old Pal's in sight. He'll kill you. That dog could really bite. Yeah, I sure miss old Pal. More than any old gal. One day he turned on me and I had to shoot him. Yeah, he turned into a real killer. Night, folks!
That's good stuff right there. Chris Ligon is Jimmy Stewart. Tales from the Back Lot.